want to say thank you to James. In 1948, January 28th, there was a plane that was deporting 28 Mexicans from Oakland, California to the San Diego border. And that plane, as it was an hour en route, leaving Oakland, an hour later, it crashed down in Coalinga, in Los Gatos Canyon, there in Coalinga, and it killed everybody aboard. All 32 people. It's 28 Mexicans that were being deported and the 4 American crew members. Pilot, co-pilot, stewardess, and an immigration officer. All killed, all 32. Beyond recognition. Okay? All the newspapers picked it up from coast to coast, all the way to the East Coast. The newspapers mentioned the 4 American crew members by name, said their names, even gave profile of who they were and what they had done in their life, and referred to the 28 Mexican passengers simply as deportees. That was it. They didn't get a name, they didn't get any mention of what they were doing or nothing. It was just deportees. To add insult to injury, the 4 American crew members' remains were sent back home to their families by train. Actually, one of them as far as Rochester, New York, from Central California to Rochester, New York. You know, if you do the math, you realize that the mileage is much further than even Chapultepec, Guanajuato, you know. So the families of the American crew members, the remains were all sent back home to their families. Their families all had funeral services and were able to find closure and grief for them. The remains of the 28 Mexican passengers were shoved into an unmarked mass grave in Fresno. Okay, it was the largest mass grave in California's history at that time. Yale. This one's called Memo Ramirez. This one's called Grandpa Van Crash Questions. This one's called John Boomer. This one is called Angela Teaches Me of Ghosts. And this one's called Virgil. And this one's called The Horse Story. All right? Exciting. And also, I picked the hits. The hits that I picked are relevant, most of them, to Visalia specifically, or to the San Joaquin Valley, but like 90% of these are relevant to Visalia, to Tulare County. Okay, I'm gonna show you how all these various strands find their way into this history of the plane crash at Los Gatos Canyon. We're all all of us are linked in. We're all linked to this story, okay, by way of these here. So, all right, and so here's my propeller. Let's see if it works. It's been an untested propeller, so you gotta bear with me. I don't know if it's gonna work. I wouldn't fly with it, but here we go. But I will do this. Are y'all ready for this? Yeah. Right. On the count of 3, let's just say, we'll say spin, spin, spin. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Spin, spin, spin. Oh man, already 10. All right, Memo Ramirez. And then it has the last known address in Mexico where they lived. And then it has the relatives who are still alive, their survivors' names next to each of the names. And I was like, well, I don't have that list. You know? Where'd you get this list? And my family's had it since 1948. They sent it to us. And I said, you kept it all these years? And I go so I go and I sit down, and my grandpa comes out, and he sits down, but he's got something in a bowl, and it's jiggling. It's like a jiggly meat. It's a jiggly meat, and the meat's jiggling, and he sits it down, and it's just a jiggly meat. It's like gray, lumpy, you know, and it's just got, all it has is salt and pepper on it. That's it. It's nothing fancy. It's in a bowl. And he sets it in the middle of the table, and I sit down with him. I go, Grandpa, what the hell is that? Mollejas? Mollejas? Gizzards, you know, gizzards, like boiled gizzards with just salt and pepper. Have some. So I'm like, all right, Grandpa. Because, you know, it makes sense to me that it's a give and take. It's reciprocity, right? If I'm asking for stories and we're giving and taking, then I got to participate. So I say, okay, Grandpa, I get the jiggly meat. I chew it, you know, it's very chewy. All right, Grandpa. So we sit down and start chatting, having this conversation. My grandpa's telling me his stories, and I'm asking him about, you know, Grandpa, tell me when you were a kid, you know, what were some of the fun things he used to do? And he would tell me all these stories. And I was like always very aware. I'm like, man, this is good stuff. This is gold. My grandpa's spilling his guts about his life, and he doesn't understand. Yeah, it's gold. And then finally, some guy comes by on a broken bicycle. And the guy goes, hey, Don Felix! Don Felix! He calls my grandfather, my grandpa's Don Felix. And my grandpa goes, oh, Nacho! Hey, Nacho! And then Nacho says to him, come over here, Don Felix, I have to talk to you, My grandpa's like, oh, yeah, see, okay. So, mijo, listen, I have to go talk real quick, I'm gonna go talk to Nacho, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, Grandpa, yeah, go ahead. My grandpa gets up from his chair and he goes, hey, do me a favor, mijo, real quick. What? He goes, turn off the camera. My final story is going to be Visalia, where first the necessity of words found me. Had never known myself to be, until slick rocks spit me out, until I handed you my life in grove and acrid blossoms, until you split my heart like this, until my tooth punctured through my bottom lip. Let's count the broken bones here, the clavicle and other structures. Visalia, no wonder Steinbeck ratted you out. When I'm with you, I long for elsewhere. When I'm elsewhere, I long for plums. Your streets can still hold me, but your telephone wires go on disappointing the birds. We had baseball in April and that was all. It seems you get along fine without me. I won't express to you all my illusions and all these scars without a story, and 200,000 eyes without a bookstore. Cannot read the rings around Kaweah Lake. I didn't forget about Virgil, or the steady black nostril of your Glock. I just forgave you. I've been trying hard to write you out of my head, but the line of cars at Mooney's Grove Park on Easter Sunday still plays our song. What have I left out? That I was once a drunken wreck on the shoulder of Lover's Lane, on that night that cowboy blew his skull, or that I sought solitude in your walnut groves in the winter. I still can't pass Sequoia High School without feeling sentimental about barbed wire. You must wonder why your children leave. What else? Oh, yes. That one about a kid who thought one day he might return to speak honestly with you, calling it poetry. He wrote this song in 1948, and in the sky, right, in the Akashic records in the sky, that song has lasted and gone through different languages all around the world, asking one question in his lyrics: who are these friends, all scattered like dry leaves? Who are these friends? All for 70 years. Until long enough for the message to stay alive until someone in the right place, in the right geography, with the right intention came along to say, I'm going to find out who they are. I'm going to answer the question, who are these friends, right? So, I don't know if that gets to, all right. Yeah, but art has gravity. I wanted to say that one more time. Art has gravity because a book at this point has become really the main tool for finding more families now. That's the main clue. Now that the book's out in the world, more media has, and actually I found more families recently. That's why I'm now into book 2. It wasn't supposed to be a second book. I was supposed to just write one and be done. I told them, hey, we're done, all right, peace out. And then I was like, more families started to find me after the book came out. After All They Will Call You came out, more families started to find me. And I was like, oh man, and every story was incredible. And I was like, God, I wish they had found me back when I was working on that book.
Novel On the Road, he talks about him calling Little Johnny. That's terrific. You get the gold. You guys have a good night. Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go.
Kick.